Okay, so just going to do a little hand thingy like the Tame Impala thing you mentioned. So this is Animate CC, formerly Flash. It looks pretty much the same. They just changed the name, um, and people won't think it's Flash anymore. So I'll just create. If you haven't used it before, I'm not going to explain the whole thing. There are sheets for that on lynda.com, but this will show you the basics. I'm going to use ActionScript 3.0 to create a new file, and this is what I've got. So I just click on a blank part of the stage, this white box here, go to properties, and I'm just going to change my FPS, which is my frames per second, to 25, for no other reason than it's just easy to add up when you're doing, timing the animation. Size, I'm going to change to 910 wide by 500, because that's pretty close to the proportions of like a TV screen, etc. So if you're going to embed this into like a film, it'll look better. So I've done a sketch. I'm just going to go File, Import to Library, and I'll go find it. And there it is, hand pose. So I've just done a hand, and that's now in my library over here. If your library isn't there, it's just you get it from your window menu. Go to window up there. This works exactly the same on PC if you're not using a Mac. So just library there, and that'll bring it up. So there's my hand that I've drawn. I'll just drag that onto my stage. That's a little bit larger than I need, so I'm just going to go Command Option S, which on a PC would be Control Alt S. Yeah, and scale it down to about 25. Just make, there we go. Beautiful, that was a good guess. So that's the hand that I've drawn. So I've got two poses in one there. You see I've got the hand sort of clenched in a fist, and then I've just drawn the two fingers out there. I'll use those as two separate drawings as a sort of a, rock and roll kind of pose, or whatever you want to call it. The devil's spawn, whatever works for you. So this is just a drawing. We're going to use this as a guide. This is the way I do it anyway when I'm doing animation stuff. So I've sketched it first in pencil. I've taken a photo on my phone and emailed it to myself, saved it to my desktop, and then I've imported it in, and that's it here. So I did start off with just a pencil and a blank piece of paper. So I'm going to lock this layer now. So just here, you see the little lock there. I'm just clicking on the dot below it. That locks that layer. I can't, if I grab that now, I can't do anything. I would recommend, I'm using just like a cheapy Microsoft 2-button mouse, even though I'm using a Mac, because I don't like the Mac mice. But if you're going to do a lot of animation stuff, or at least a decent amount of it for your film, I would really look into getting some sort of tablet. You can get cheap ones from Audi and places like that, with a pen, a graphics tablet. At the very least, you want a 2-button mouse. I would certainly not do it using a trackpad. That's just madness. So I'm just going to double click this layer and call it background. And I'm going to create a new layer above it by just moving my mouse over this thing. Looks like I have a page with the corner turned up. And that's my new layer. There it is there. So I'm going to just call this hand 1. Why not? I'm just double clicking on that text. I should point out to change that. So just using my magnification tool here, I'm just going to, I'll just click and hold and drag a square around that section. And that just enables me to zoom in a little bit. You can see up here, the zoom's now gone up to 292%. So I'm just going to use my, rather than my pencil tool, I like the paintbrush a bit better. And it's a matter of preference, both work. The paintbrush tends to sort of have thicker and thinner lines, sort of both at the same time. Sort of like a paintbrush, it looks a little bit more sort of anime, whereas the pencil tends to be, I find it tricky to work with anyway, but that's probably also because I'm using a mouse and not a pen. So I'm just going to go brush, with the brush tool, your fill color actually changes the color of that. And you can see there, if I just draw, I'm just going to undo that. So I don't want that's my brush shape down here. I do want it to be a circle. I don't want it necessarily to be that big. That's about right, that's what I want. And this over here, properties, I've also got, what am I looking at? Oh, down here, smoothing. So you can mess with smoothing as well. So if I go like that and draw a line, you see it smooths it out a bit, and it just sort of has slightly thicker bits and slightly thinner bits. If I just click and hold on that smoothing number and drag to the right to make it bigger, and then draw a similar line again, you'll see what it does. So it creates actual gaps if you go too far, and it creates thicker bits and thinner bits, and it sort of looks paintbrushy. It's kind of cool, but I generally I keep it around sort of 50-ish anyway, but it's entirely up to you. So I'm just going to quickly get rid of those bits and go back to my paintbrush. And I'm just going to trace. I'm just flat out tracing as carefully, pseudo carefully as I can. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing it. There we go, just fill that in a bit. I do it in little bits because it's a bit hard to see. You probably can hear me clicking a lot. That looks a bit dodgy. I'll just go back. There we go. So now I can just hold down the mouse, not the mouse, the space bar, and I'll get a little hand, and then I can move that down so I can see a bit more. And I'll keep going. I'm just going to go up this way. That doesn't look too good, but that's alright. So let's draw a bit of a nail on here. This is my thumb. And I'll just, oops, that was a bit dodgy. There we go. I'll just draw these sort of joins here. And again, with a tablet and a pen, you can sort of make it look a little bit sketchy. So it'll look a little bit more like a pencil sketch, would look a little bit better. I'll just space to move up again. I'm actually a left-handed drawer using a mouse with my right hand, so it's not the best thing you'll ever see, but you get the idea. There we go. So I'll just do a few sort of lines to give a bit of character. So this is sort of meant to be a clenched fist. We'll scroll down a little bit. I'll get a bit of this action happening. Just a bit of that. A bit of that. Just a few lines to give the impression of shading. And then if I zoom back out a smidge for your window, I'm left with that sort of dodgy looking fist that has probably too many knuckles. But you get the idea. So that's one. What I'm going to do is just click on see the keyframe here, this dot, and that goes all, my drawing goes all dotty. That means it's selected everything on that layer. So I'm actually going to go edit, copy. I'm going to create a new layer here. Double click and call it hand 2. So I don't have to redraw the whole thing again. And just click in that frame underneath the number 1 here and go edit, paste in place. What that's done, as you might expect, is it's pasted the hand I've just copied in the exact same place. So if I just click, this is hide there, that hides everything. If I click on the eye, but if I just click on the dot below the eye, it hides individual layers. So you can see I've got 2 layers. I've got 2 hands now of exactly the same. So I'm just going to lock this bottom one that I've just drawn and go up to this top one. And all I'm going to do is just rub out this knuckle here and do the extended hands. And then we're going to have the 2 versions of the hands without having to draw the whole thing. So to do that, I'm just going to go magnification. That's a little bit too close, really. I'll go back. There we go, that's a bit better. So I'll use my eraser tool, which is this guy. And I'm just going to get rid of knuckles. I can see the hand underneath, that's why it doesn't look like it works. So I'll just see this hand 1 layer under the eye again. I'm just going to click on the dot to hide that one. There you can see. So it is actually working. I can just see the line in the exact same position from the drawing I just copied. So There we go, that's not too bad. So I'll go back to my paintbrush and I'm just going to extend this finger up. Oops, didn't do that. Oops, that's not good either. He's probably got an unnaturally long index and he's got some elephantitis at the end there, but that's alright. There we go. Give him a bit of a crease on the skin. A bit of a random, meant to be a knuckle, but I'm not sure what it is really. And I might just get rid of that bit as well. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same here, so I'll just get rid of this bit. And back to my paintbrush. I'm going to extend, I'll neaten this up in a smidge. I'm going to extend my pinky. There we go, that looks ordinary. But I'll just fix this up a bit. It's gonna, not sure if you can. Oh, you can, sweet. I'm just pressing the square bracket. Just to give myself a bigger thing to work with there. I'll just get rid of this line because that obviously shouldn't be. Oops. Don't like that anymore. And I might just pretend it's like the palm. I'll just bring that in a little bit, give it a little bit like that, a little bit like that, and then pretend that's like the front of the hand there. There we go. So if I just go back out, what we've got is, if I just bring that out once, like that, and I'll hide the background, and just unhide that, what you've got is that. Okay, so let's go back here and drag that back in. So what you've got is that. Okay, so just undo all that. To drag that layer out like I just did, I probably didn't show, drag that keyframe out, you just click once on a keyframe and let go, and then click and hold, and drag it out once. So now you're left with a blank keyframe there, and a keyframe there. And then I'll hide, just click on the, under the eye to hide the background, the picture that I usually do, the sketch, and then unhide the first hand. So now if I just drag this red playhead between the two, I'm left with that. Okay, so that's just a little bit of movement, but we also, in that sort of Tame Impala clip, had a bit of a shimmer to it. So what I'm going to do just to show that is I will, again, just click on the frame and go Edit, Copy. And I'm going to go Insert New Symbol, and call it Hand 1. Okay. And you can see here it says Hand 1, I'm in symbol edit mode now, I'm not in my animation. So if I just go Paste in Place, hand up, it's a good idea to have your hand over that cross, sort of central, or whatever object you're drawing, sort of central over that cross, because that's the center point. And what you can do is just to sort of get that shimmer. Whenever you use a keyframe, you're making a change. So you can add a keyframe and then change it, and it won't affect what's come before that keyframe. So I might just go about, I guess, 7 keyframes in and go, I've right-clicked and choose Insert Keyframe. Another way to do it is go Insert Timeline Keyframe. Another way to do it, again, if you've got a bigger keyboard and you don't have other shortcuts applied to it, is to press the F6 key on your keyboard. That's Insert Keyframe as well. So to make my point, I've got 2 keyframes there now. Keyframes is signaled by this little black circle. Nothing's different between the two because I've made no changes, but I've added this keyframe here, so I can click in that one, and I could then just get my eraser tool and go like that. And that's erased and messed up the hand, but it's only done it from that point on because I added the keyframe first. If I drag my playhead back, the hand is still fine right up until the point of that playhead, that keyframe rather, where I deleted stuff. So I'm just going to undo that because I don't actually want to do that. There we go. But just to show you the point. So what we could do is, just to get sort of that shimmer, is use, I'm going to create a new layer, go up there to the layer above it and go insert timeline keyframe. I'm going to lock this one, and then I'm going to use my paintbrush just to draw deliberately loosely around the previous hand so that it is slightly different. So I'm just going to do that. Oops, that was really bad. I'm just going to do that bit again. So we'll go here. I'm just going to go down here. Going to go there. Do some more little lines. There we go. So I'm just very loosely just going around my hand that I already had on a different layer. So it's very important that these are on different layers, otherwise I'm basically drawing over my previous hand that I've done and ruining everything. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, so now I'm just going to click and hold and then drag. So just to clarify what I did there, I just clicked once on the keyframe. This is exactly what I just did before, and then let go, and then click and hold on it and drag it back one frame. I'm then going to right click on that frame, the one that's left over, and go remove frames, so that I've got the old hand there and the new hand there. You can see I probably did it a little bit too loosely. That's the sort of the shimmer we're going for. So what I can do is then just extend this out another 7 frames. I'm just going to right click and choose insert frame. And if I press return on my keyboard, yeah, it's not too bad. Because this is so that'll play, again, you'd probably do that not as dodgily the second time around as I have. You try and stick closely to it, but there would be a slight shimmer rather than just the very obvious one that's here. So if I go back to my scene now, and I might just insert a new scene just to show you. So I'll just go insert scene. You can now see it goes into scene 2. The other one's still there. You just get back to it there. But click on this little clapperboard and go back to scene 1. There it is. But I'm just going to go to scene 2 so it's nice and clean, and go to my library, and that hand that we just made right there is there. So I can just, this is a movie clip, I can drag it in. Just use my arrow tool to reposition it. There we go. And movie clips loop when they're on the timeline. So if I were to go Command Option Return now, which is the same as going modify, is it? No. No, it's the same as going Control rather. Test movie. So I can go in browser, blah, blah, blah. Or I can go test scene. I'm just going to go test scene. Okay, so you get that sort of shimmer. It looks a little bit dodgy because I've been pretty careless with it. If you wanted it to look a little bit better, I would maybe shorten how long it takes. I'd maybe do a 3rd run at it and have 3 different versions of it. Yes, okay. So what you could do is then just double click on this to go back. It's probably, like I said, a little bit too slow. So I'd maybe just drag it in, make it maybe 3 frames. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 frames of one hand, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 of the other. So then we just want to click and hold and drag, and right click and choose remove frames, just so it's even, so it's the same amount each time. So now if we go back and go Control Test Scene, You kind of get that sort of shimmer that you were talking about. It gets a little bit darker. I've got a feeling maybe there's a bit of double up there somewhere. Oh, there is, because I didn't get rid of those. So if I just click and hold and drag, just those two little frames there, right click and choose remove frames. It'll now get that. So now if I go back to my scene, I can go Command Option Return on a Mac, which on a PC would be Control Alt Enter. To do that, that's just testing the scene. And so you get that shimmer. Again, it looks a little bit dodgy because I didn't take probably enough care with the first one. But it's not so bad. It's not so bad. And then you can just add the other drawings to it. So, but you get the idea anyway. You can see what you can do. So I'm just going to go back. What I'm going to do is create. What am I going to do? I'm going to go back and I'm going to go Insert. Let me try again. I'll go back to Scene 1. I'm going to grab this hand, which is, I've just clicked on the frame to grab the rock and roll hand, and just go Edit, Copy, Insert, New Scene. And I'm going to go Edit, Paste in Place. It'll go down. No, that's not so bad. Oh, I'm an idiot, sorry. That's not what we're doing at all. That's not what we're doing. Forget I just said those things. Instead of insert new scene, we're going to insert new symbol. I'm going to call this hand 2 and make sure it's a movie clip. Where's this type there? And go OK. So paste again. I just use the keyboard shortcut. You can just use the menu. And same deal. We're going to go in 4 frames and right click and choose Insert Keyframe. And then we're going to we'll just go one after that keyframe and choose Insert Frame. Insert Frame just extends it without making any changes. You can see that it doesn't have the dot, just has a little thing. So just here, I'm going to go on my new layer here. I'm going to click above that, underneath that number 5, and go Insert Keyframe. And then I'm going to use my Paint tool again to very loosely, just like we did before, but you know, if you're doing a good job, it'll take a little bit more care. Trace around the hand so you get that shimmer. So tracing. Oh, gee, that's bad. I'll come back the other way. I find it for some reason easier to, when I'm using a mouse, to draw downwards. I don't know why that is. Going up, I tend to make more mistakes. Okay, so we'll just right click on this frame in the label out and go Remove Frames. So you get that. There we go, that's not too bad. That's a bit better than the last one. So again, we want to just go 4, Insert Frame just to extend it out. So we've got 4 frames the first one, 4 frames the last one. And we'll go back to Scene 2 by clicking on that. And so each one goes for 8 frames. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 5, 6, 7, 8. Right click and choose, no, we'll go to frame 9. Right click and choose Insert Keyframe. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click on my symbol and I'm going to choose Swap Symbol right there. I'm going to choose Hand 2 and go OK. And then I'm going to give that 8 frames because you can see it changes there. So we've got 8 frames. Frame 9, it changes to the other one. I might reposition. So I'm just going to use my up arrow here. I'm just going to try to line up the thumb. could actually use onion skinning, I think, just there. Onion skin, there we go. So it just gives me a little range there, so then I can just click on that, go up, and I'll get it just, so that should be about right. I'm going to turn onion skinning back off, and that should be just so. There we go. That's a little bit off. That's close enough, that's pretty close. So I'm going to give that 8 frames to play as well, so that's where we frame 8, yeah, so frame 9 will go, then 10, frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and right, you can choose insert frame, just extending it out. So it's going to be the 2, but because these are the movie clips, we're going to get that shimmer as well. So if I just press return on my keyboard, it'll play through. We won't see that shimmer because movie clips don't animate just in the timeline. But if we go here and test it properly and go test scene, you will get that. Just like that, and that'll just keep looping over and over. And you get that shimmer. You could then, let me just, it's bugging me that it just is a little bit off. So I'll just go there, and I'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was 20. Do the same to this one. Alright, so then I'll just test it again. Control, test scene. That's better. Okay, so then if you wanted to have more animations, or you would draw poses of the hand side on at a slight angle and stuff, and so as you played those one after another, this one's just sort of a quick snap of the fingers going up, but you could have one of the hand slightly side on, or the fingers gradually opening like sort of claws, and then opening up so that all 5 fingers are fully splayed, and so it looks like the hand slowly opening. But all we have to do is do the 2 slide drawings like this for each movie clip, and then you just combine the movie clips in one scene like I've just done here, and that would do it. So yeah, give that a go. That's the first part. Yeah, if you're not too good with drawing hands, I just went to a YouTube tutorial by a channel called Draw with Jazza, who's really good, and you can just search for something like drawing hand poses and stuff like that. And I didn't actually really follow him along. I just paused it and then sort of copied it as best I could just by looking at it and then writing on paper. So yeah, hopefully that helped.